What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we've got a bit of a special one because we're going to be showcasing Razelvarg, the new legendary fusion, in a traditional clan boss team that can one-key the Ultra Nightmare using mostly free to obtain champions. As you can see here, we've got Dark Kael, you can get from the normal Doom Tower, Mithrala from the Hydra boss, Razen Skarhide, who's a fusion that everybody can get, and then in the place of Taraji the Frog, with him being one of the most optimal ones, but any ally attack champion can fulfill this role here. So it's not just a Taraji only composition. And then of course Razelvarg, who's going to be pumping out most of the damage here and enabling a really cool speed tune for you guys today. I've been putting a lot of work into this, like all day for the past, I'd say 7 hours this morning. I've been figuring out what's the best ways to place our buffs, our debuffs, and the different kind of champions to bring in, and the different speed tunes, and just all of these things to consider, right? But I'm finally happy with this one, and I can't wait for you guys to see this, as I know that lots of you are going for this fusion. Definitely let me know in the comments if you are. And this team today is definitely going to change a lot of accounts out there, in my personal opinion. So, okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring up a speed tune real quick. So here we go. Now, we played around with loads of different scenarios because there is... Right now, he's going at 243 speed at a true speed of 265. We've got Dark Kael going at 220 speed with a true speed of 238.9. And this is all considering the perception sets that I have input into the calculator. Huge shout out to Deadwood Jedi. We've also got the 20% speed aura that's factoring into these true speeds. We've got Mithrala Lifebane, if I just move myself out of the way, at 167 speed, so slowest of the bunch being our cleanser champion with a true speed of 189.24. And then we've got Taraji the Frog at 232 speed with a true speed of 251. And Razen Skarhide right at the bottom at 234 speed and a true of 251.74. Now, it's very important with this composition when using Razelvarg to determine your true speeds, because that plays a big factor in here. Because as you see, there's literally a 0.5 difference between Taraji and Razen Skarhide, and that's the difference between Taraji placing the ally protection or Razen Skarhide going after the ally protection. So all of these things need to be considered when you're building up this clan boss team. Now, as I said, it is versatile. You can bring in anybody you want, whether that be any cleanser, any debuffers, any ally protectors, and any drop defense champions, right? So let me just move myself over here just to explain this a little bit better. Now, you can see that on the first phase, we could do this with auto preset, which I'll show you guys later on. And after AoE 1 occurs, we then have a manual phase. And this is where you need to go through manual this. It becomes like muscle memory after a couple attempts, as most of it is just purely A1s. Straight after this, A2 happens on Dark Kael. And then we're going to lead into a full auto after Razelvarg takes his A2. And then the rest of the fight's going to be completely fine. Now you can see here that Razen Skarhide is going to have to tank the first stun, with him being our stun target for the whole of the fight. But once it comes up to turn count 6, the A3 is going to cleanse that off consistently, making sure that we can optimize the damage with our Razen, as he's a very strong DPS, right? With that triple hit A1 dealing those Giant Slayer procs. Now you can also see here that the ally protection goes up. It covers most of our champions on the first phase. But once it gets into the speed tune, Razelvarg is taking 2 turns for every 1 turn of the Taraji the Frog in this part here. And what's going to happen here is he's going to lose his ally protection, but that's completely fine because we're going to have the increased defense of our Mithrala Lifebane. And this is going to allow us to survive through the first turn, as we've got multiple champions built in Guardian sets to absorb some of that damage from him. And I've also got him in a Stalwart build to mitigate 30% AoE damage, which I felt was very vital in getting a 1-key. Once we get to turn count 7, you'll see here that Mithrala Lifebane, we've got an A1 skill here. Now, for anybody thinking, ooh, we're not going to have any increased defense YST, like what's going on here? Well, I actually did have it there at the first time, but I found that because Mithrala actually places a shield over here where we've got it placed, alongside a strengthen buff, allowing us to just absorb way more damage than usual, we're actually being able to tank that, and we're not actually dying to AoEs in this run. We're dying to the single target stun. So the longer you can let Razen Skarhide live, the longer your battle's going to be, therefore, the more damage you're going to see. So it was working out much better in this way because that shield and that strengthen being able to be on Razelvarg on that AoE 2 smack is huge, guys, because it will definitely drop off if you have it here, because he's taking way too many turns, right? As you see here, 1, 2, 3 turns in this second cycle here. From here, we've got an A2, which is basically a waste of space. We've got a bit of increased defense, but that's just the way that the tune works. But we don't really need that for the stun phase, as it's going to drop off from Raz and Scarhide. And this is how it's basically gonna work, guys. Very simple to do once you understand it. It took a long time to actually make this work, I guess. I want to say a huge shout out to Hell Hades and Deadwood Jedi for being innovative with the Razelvarg teams out there. And I will leave their channels below in the description if you guys want to go and check out the teams that they came up with, whether that be Unkillable, budget teams, super maximum damage teams from Hell Hades. They're all really cool to see, and just gives players options out there that is going for this champion and want to implement him into a Demon Lord Clan Boss team. Alright, so what we're going to do is basically I'll walk you through the team and how to set it up and how it's going to look on your guys' accounts. And then also in the presets, like I just showed prior with the speed tuning calculator, we've got the opener here, then we've got a first priority on Keep Up If You Can, and then a second priority on the Night of the Rabbit. We've got Mithrala Lifebane doing a first priority on the Brimming Silix, and then a second priority on the A2. First priority on the Shear and blocking out the Bog Down. We then got an opener of Reality Acid and a first priority on the Blinding Darkness to be able to extend the value of those debuffs, because we want the Poison up to be able to mitigate the crit rate that he actually provides in his passive, which is very crucial in survival. To Roggy the Frog, we've got an Ally Protection and a blocking off the A2 and an opener with the Swamp Club. So let's get right into this. Now, hopefully we don't get resisted. There we go, we got some Leech. There's some poison sensitivity, and there we go. Now, all you want to do here is A1s. And then we're going to do an A3. A1 here. Ally Protection, because it's going to make sure that it syncs completely fine. We're going to extend the value of our debuffs, and this is going to be crucial in the longevity of the fight. Don't worry about it getting resisted there. You'll see it throughout the run. And then we're going to do an A1. A1s everywhere, pretty much until Razelvarg takes another turn. Then we're just going to do an A2. And then boom. This is basically how the rest of the fight's going to go. Now, what you're going to see is Drop Defense and Weaken is never going to drop off, because we've got a first priority on the extension of our buffs from the Dark Hail. And in his passive, being able to manipulate 15% of the crit rate from the boss means that we're never going to take a bad crit in these longer fights, so you're going to have more of a consistent run. Now, for anybody thinking, is there a way to counter like Spirit Affinities and all of that good stuff? The answer is yes. You might not be optimal in terms of damage, but you just have to tweak the way that you set up the team, which I'll also leave in the description of that speed tune, guys. So I'm not going to leave you empty-handed for anyone that wants to replicate. All of the different variations are going to be in the description, and also this team is going to work for Nightmare Clan Boss in the exact same speed tune. So for players out there like to get their one key on one difficulty, go into the Nightmare and do the same exact thing, this is going to completely have you covered. And as I said, guys, so many ways to actually change this composition. And there we go. We got the stun target going on Razin, and I'll explain how to do that once we break down the kits and stuff. Ally protections are going to be going through, protecting most of our targets. But as you see here, Razelvarg is going to take a turn there. So we actually lose it on that first AoE. So boom. But everybody else is completely covered, so don't worry about that. And then on this cycle here, because of the way we set up our Mithrala Lifebane, you're going to see it right now. Now, she's going to do the shield and the strengthen at this point, right? So we're decreasing the damage of incoming on our Razelvarg, allowing us to survive alongside the ally protection. And there's just no chance of dying from the AoEs in particular in the right stats and masteries. So yeah, I guess I'll just let you guys enjoy the rest of this run here. I'll come back to you towards the end and see where the damage came. And then we'll break down all of the stats and masteries straight afterwards. Let's get into it. Alright guys, we just got into turn count 47 and we're well over that 1 key ultra nightmare, and as you see here, we take that stun and then boom, it all goes downhill from here. But there's not really much we could do as we don't have a way to protect him with some ally protection. If we manage to do that, we'll be able to survive a longer time, and I've definitely tried variations of that, but it's very hard to get the full coverage on the Razelvarg in this composition, right? Because if you bring in an extender and then he doesn't manage to place his increased speed because it's overridden with extensions, it can come a little bit dicey. So there's just so many different options that I'm sure will come out into fruition in the near future once everybody gets their hands on this champion. But for now, being able to see 23 million damage popping out from him, also enabling the leech, allowing us to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, the increased speed, the increased accuracy, so we can place multiple buffs without needing the stats. He just brings in so many crucial roles for this team, alongside the speed aura as well. But I will say it's really hard to tune into like an ally attack or counter attack team because he's got that Terminator manipulation A1, and that can definitely throw your speed tune off. And also with the defensive tree masteries and getting those counter attacks could definitely be detrimental. So there's all of these things you need to keep an eye out for. With Roller Lifebane with 9.9 million, 17 million on Razen Scarhide, Dark Hail on 16 million, and Taragi the Frog on 8.7 million. Now, there was a way that I was doing where I locked off Dark Chaos A3, and that way Mithralia was getting so much more damage, and we were just focusing on the extensions, because if you don't place a debuff, right, or you get resisted and Dark Chaos doesn't extend it, there could be a pocket where a drop defense falls off or a weaken. I'm not saying that happens all of the time, but there is definitely like maybe 1 in 10 runs where I've seen where the weaken just doesn't place and I didn't reset the run because it happens at the very start, and then you're just placing way too many poisons. So that was a really cool way that I did. I still one keyed, but I only got 72 million. Whereas when I was amplifying the damage of Dark KO, I got 75 million. But either way, it can definitely work. It's just down to your guys' discretion, right? So Razelvarg here is in a Stalwart build, and this is going to mitigate 30% of AoE damage coming our way, and this is very strong for the AoEs in particular, right? So we don't die from the smacks, we only die from the stun target, and this kept it consistent for me. We're trying to optimize speed, crit rate, attack percent, defense percent, HP percent, you name it, alongside some accuracy stats to place our debuffs, which we don't have like a crazy amount, but because of the extensions of Dark KO, I actually managed to get away with just around 193, but I definitely recommend way over 220 accuracy to get that done. So yeah, speeds, crit damage, defense percent, speed. We've gone for defense and HP percent here, crit damage and HP here. Masteries, we've gone for the offense tree heading down to the War Master. Now this is subjective, right? Because the amount of attacks that we do, and his A2 and A3 are single target abilities, I found a lot more value from the War Master. But that's not to say that Giant Slayer won't have a great value because it's a triple hit to A1, right? And both of them, either way you want to go, definitely play around with it for yourselves and see which one plans out better for you. But just for me personally, in my testings, the War Master in this specific team was dealing better damage for me. Well, not by a crazy amount, but a good amount, right? And then we got support tree. We need Steadfast because he's the lead position and we want to mitigate him from being the stun target. This is the only way that I could do that. So Steadfast, if all buffs are aligned, the clan boss is going to want to go and smack somebody else. Definitely worth keep him. And then we're coming through here. We're getting the Sniper, Master Hexer, trying to extend the value of our debuffs. And that's going to be cool. Total stats, we've got 45,000 HP, 3.1k defense, a little bit on the low side. I'll be hoping for around 4k defense usually. But as you see, with the Stalwart, allowed us to mitigate that attacks so we can actually afford to have a lower threshold. Speed at 243, so going pretty fast here, being the fastest of the bunch. 96% crit rate, couldn't quite get there with 100% unfortunately in a Stalwart build. Crit damage at 241 and accuracy a bit low, like I said, get above 220, 230 in order to place those debuffs. Now on Mithralia Lifebane, we have got a Guardian build and she is in a 76,000 HP, 3.9k defense, 167 speed, and that is allowing us to optimize all of this survivability here. Crit rate and crit damage wherever I could get throughout this build, and then 328 accuracy in order to place our debuffs. A bit on the higher end, that's completely fine. Masteries, we've gone for the offense tree down to the War Master, of course. And then we've gone for the support tree once again with Steadfast because we cannot afford for her to be the stun target, which she actually was before I changed this. A big shout out to Saphira from HH Gaming as well, because we spoke for an hour or two before recording, just trying to optimize this in the best way for you guys today, and placing the Steadfast was one of the crucial roles in deterring that stun target. Dark here was also in the Guardian build, absorbing that damage, guys. Just to briefly talk about it, the wearer absorbs 10% of all damage dealt to all allied champions, and then will heal by that value. So once you pair multiple champions, coinciding with the ally protection from Taraji, you're pretty much taking hardly any damage from those AoE smacks, right? But yeah, as you see here, Guardian, Perception, and the overall stats of Dark Hill is going to be 40,000 HP, 3.4k defense, 220 speed, 92% crit rate, 150% crit damage, and 280 accuracy. And then from here, we've gone the offense tree heading down to Giant Slayer because of that triple hit A1, and the support tree trying to extend the value of our debuffs to keep that poison sensitivity up as much as we can. And also the main thing was Lore of Steel, guys, because I couldn't optimize the speeds in the Guardian set, and that was the only way for me to get that bonus speed today. Razen Scorehide is in just a maximum damage build. We actually built this earlier on today. We've got 43,000 HP, 4.4k defense to optimize damage, 234 speed, 100% crit rate, 215% crit damage, and accuracy at 250. Masteries, we've gone for the Giant Slayer for the A1 triple hitters to coincide with the defensive tree for those counterattacks if he manages to cleanse a debuff, or let's just say, right? And then from here, with the, which was the last one? Taraji the Frog. He's also in a Guardian build trying to absorb some more damage. And the overall stats of Taraji is 81,000 HP, 3.6k defense, 232 speed, crit rate and crit damage we're not worrying about, and enough accuracy to place our debuffs. Masteries, we've gone for the offense tree down to the War Master and the support tree of Steadfast to try and deter that stun target to keep this as smooth as possible. But yeah, guys, that's basically all of the champions today. I hope you found this useful. And for anybody that's going for the fusion, hopefully you guys maybe use them in a Clan Boss team and let me know what you come up with. We're still going to have a part 2 to this video, taking on the Hydra boss, the faction wars, and some other content. So definitely be sure to hit that like and subscribe button not to miss out on some more Razelvarg action. And I'll catch you guys on a video soon. Peace.